All right, good evening. Welcome to the Design Review Board meeting of January 22nd, 2026. The DRB meeting is now called to order. Please refrain from talking amongst yourselves during the meeting, and please turn off or put on vibrate all cell phones at this time. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting the questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person. Current DRB agendas and staff reports are available by visiting our website, our city's website at www.glendaleca.gov. Records of decisions for all projects will be posted online on the Development Services Division's website. A handout describing the procedures of the meeting, possible board decisions, and DRB appeal is available from staff. Please note that any appeal of a case heard today must be filed within 15 calendar days of the DRB decision date. Meetings are also archived on the city's website for viewing anytime at glendaleca.gov/agendas. Roll call. Board Member Lockroff. Absent. Board Member Welsh.
Present.
Board Member Simonian. Absent. Board Member Halajian.
Yes, present.
And Board Member Kaskanian.
Present.
Great. Report regarding posting of the agenda. The agenda for the January 22nd, 2026 regular meeting of the Glendale Design Review Board was posted on the city's website and on the bulletin board outside of City Hall on January 15th, 2026. Please be advised that the election of chairperson was listed on the agenda for tonight. However, given the two absences, we're going to postpone that to the next meeting. We do have approval of Design Review Board minutes from December 11th.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second or two?
Second.
Okay. And Board Member Halajian,
Yes.
Board Member Welsh,
Yes.
and Board Member Kaskanian.
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you. Oral communications. Is there anybody in the audience, or do you have any cards that would like to speak on an item not a part of this agenda?
I don't have anything here.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that is wanting to speak on an item that isn't on tonight's agenda? No. Okay. We're down to board member comments. Any comments from you all?
Nope.
Right. New business. The first item on the agenda is 4124 Lowell Avenue. It's DRB case number 004840-2025.
Okay. Thank you, Senior Planner Kiesel. Good evening, Chairperson Kaskanian, board members Welsh and Halajian, and good evening, members of the public. My name is Alan Lambert, and I'm the case planner for this project. The application under consideration is design review at 4124 Lowell Avenue, case number PDR 004840-2025. The applicant, Helbert Moradian, K&M Engineering and Design, proposes to demolish an existing 1,500 square foot single-family dwelling built in 1920 and construct a new two-story, 3,100 square foot single-family dwelling and an attached 488 square foot parking space garage with a new circular driveway, new landscaping and swimming pool, all on the 22,000 square foot site. The project qualifies as a Class 3 new construction exemption pursuant to Section 15303 of the state CEQA guidelines because the project consists of one new single-family residence. Additionally, the property and the existing residence does not appear eligible for historic designation and is not considered a historic resource under CEQA. The subject project is in North Glendale, La Crescenta Community Plan area, and the property at 4124 Lowell is in this low-density R1 zone, floor area ratio District 2. The lot features a gentle slope and is parallelogram shaped. The neighborhood consists mostly of a mix of one-story and some two-story single-family residences with varied setbacks, massing, and architectural styles. The community plan promotes preserving this diversity and neighborhood scale. Looking at the existing site plan, buildings and structures are to be demolished include the existing residence, the freestanding and retaining walls, the patio, garages, and driveway. Now, looking from the street, existing and proposed, the existing house is an eclectic style, which blends elements from different historical periods, a trend that began in the late 19th century. The new residence reflects a clean, contemporary style with rustic elements, continuing the eclectic tradition of blending diverse influences. Both approaches complement the neighborhood's character and echo the natural stone aesthetics found throughout Crescenta Highlands. This is an example of the site plan, which the applicant will get into more detail with, and a preview of the elevation, which the applicant will also detail. As far as determination of compatibility, the staff report outlines this in three ways: site planning, mass and scale, and design and detail. Just a brief summary of the findings in the staff report. For site planning, the footprint increases by about 34%. The lot coverage increases about 87%, particularly because of this rear deck that's in the back. The setback is similar. It's 26-foot front yard setback, so the house is positioned in a similar front compared to the current house. And the design meets the slightly sloping terrain. It's a gentle slope. Structures stay in that original position to minimize grading. There is new landscaping. There'll be a new swimming pool in the back. It'll be an open front yard. There'll be no structures, no gates, no fences in the front. There will be a circular driveway, but the lot is wide enough to accommodate that, and with permeable pavers and such. And there will be a 36-inch tall retaining wall in the front yard to be finished with natural materials. There'll also be a couple street trees replaced with oak trees preserved and such. So for massing and scale, we'll have a two-story home that'll be scaled for neighborhood compatibility. The contemporary modern design will have low-pitched roofs and long eaves. It'll follow the slope that the taller first floor is offset by some spacing and setbacks. The massing is softened by these horizontal lines and metal fascia. The second floor is set back a little bit to the south on the top there, and you'll see that it slightly cantilevers north for a gradual transition. And there's a flat roof design, and that meets the maximum height, which is 25 feet, and that the street-facing facade, you'll see like the wall is actually on the street-facing facade 21 feet high. So it slopes a little bit in the back. So the house appears to be smaller in the front as opposed to the back. And in design and detail, there's this contemporary style with rustic finishes, porcelain tile, wood siding, aluminum fascia. These are high-quality materials. The windows and doors have recessed frames, solid wood entry, and the high-quality materials are generally composite wood, aluminum, and these porcelain tiles. Outdoor features include a front porch, rear balcony, a deck that's on the first floor that's positioned and all that's positioned to avoid privacy impacts. There's a circular driveway with permeable pavers. Exterior lighting will be minimal and consistent with design, and the plans will be eventually updated to show mechanical and utility elements. There was one comment I received just yesterday, so there we go. The comment was by phone call, Ara by phone needed to know about the location of the new residence and that wanted to be assured that the second floor windows would be located in such a way to avoid privacy impact. And I had emailed the plans to that person. That's the only comments received. City departments provided normal comments, standard comments, which are reflected in the staff report and exhibits. And for staff recommendation, given all the information presented here and in the staff report, staff recommends that this entitlement for design review be approved with the following conditions. Number one, that the applicant complies with the recommendations identified in the comments from these responsible agencies that you'll find in the exhibit. Number two, that there'll be some revisions of plans before plan check, and that involves four items. Just to make sure that the structures, any columns or walls or fences or gates, there was some inconsistency in the plans. Some sheets showed them and some didn't, so we just wanted to make sure that we're consistent with that. And secondly, that the retaining wall should show natural finishes, like natural stone, for example. And third, that to include exterior lighting, keep it minimal, consistent with style, and limit that exterior lighting to entry, egress, and vehicle areas. And lastly, just to show the mechanical equipment, gutters, vents, utilities, and integrate that in the design. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have one question. Historically, the design guidelines have discouraged circular driveways. So I'm curious on what basis you're saying that this one is okay.
Can you clarify if that's in the guidelines, I perhaps missed that detail. Is it in the primary guidelines for single family, or is it in the La Crescenta guidelines?
I can't speak to La Crescenta in particular, but it is in the generic design guidelines for the city.
I think, as I understand, that's true. And generally, we want to discourage circular driveways. In general, our zoning code provides for them, however. Usually lots that are, as I understand, at least 80 feet wide, you start to be able to accommodate that because they're wide enough. Mm-hmm. And as I understand, as long as, in accommodating a circular driveway, as long as it meets the intent where we provide landscaping, an open yard, then if it meets that intent, then that's why I thought we could accommodate that. This is a large lot. This is a 22,000 square foot lot with a pretty large front yard.
And by 80 feet, I mean, the actual technical width is only, 57 feet? But because it's angled, it has a longer face. Is that what you're saying?
I think, let's see. I can't remember off the top of my head the exact length of the lot. Perhaps we could discuss that with the applicant when they bring out their plans.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was 80 feet or 60 feet, but Roger's looking up the.
Yeah, sorry. A circular driveway is a permitted exception in the setbacks with lots having a minimum width of 80 feet.
Right, so.
But again, I don't, how do we qualify that 80 feet? Because if I'm looking at the dimensions here, it seems less than that, but, I mean.
Do you have the plans?
Yeah, I could bring up the plans, yeah. Okay. All right, I'm bringing up right now land survey. Close that window. Oh, okay, try it again.
So it's taken from the front property line.
Yeah, let's just look at the plan, not the survey then. Okay. Yep. All right, this software is a little, okay. Yeah, it says here, front property line 80.59 feet. Can you tell me,
Well, okay, so that's the length of the facade, but the actual width of the lots is, because that's at an angle. If you actually measure from side property line to side property line, it's less. So that's where I'm confused about how we define the width of a lot.
The width of the lot is defined in the R1 zone as the front property line.
The front property line. So even though it's, the lot itself is not that wide.
Correct.
It's defined by that dimension.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, all right,
that's good, that's a good point to clarify though, for sure.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So basically, it becomes a design discussion.
Any other questions? No. Nope. Okay. We'll go into the public portion now. Let me see. I only have one speaker card for this project. It's Ricardo Moda. Is that the only one who's going to speak for this project? Is he the applicant? He's the architect. Did you? Oh, okay, sorry. I got the other one. Okay, so Ricardo, if you want to come up. Please say your name for the record.
Ricardo Mora, the architect for the project. Good evening, everyone. I have a presentation set up, but let me address the driveway since we're talking about it. The two main design elements that from day one we had to address was the presence of the oak trees and the other mature tree that we have to the right side. And there was a path in the middle that right now it's used as a path to access the house. And the other element that we had to address was mitigate grading as much as we could. We are removing the existing house, but we're setting the new house pretty much on the same location, but pushing it down without doing any grading, just by using the existing crawl space volume that we have, which is about 3 feet in this case. So we're setting the new house on top of the existing grades inside a crawl space, right? And we also have, if you could bring the plans up, please.
We're actually having some computer issues
That's fine.
here.
All of a sudden, it just went
I'll
dark on
describe
us.
it. We also have the garage. Oh.
Yeah, just,
We have a blank screen here, and it just, so we need to figure that out. If you,
oh, here we go. Let's see what happened. So, I think it was just the Adobe software. I'm just going to close that so it doesn't cause a problem anymore. Yeah. Pardon me, so let's just close that. Yikes. Okay. Wow.
And I'll keep going. But because we have the garage facing the front, there is also a guideline asking to address that. If you have the garage in the front, it should be shielded from public view. And so we're doing that by setting it to the sides, so it's kind of behind the existing oak trees. The prominent element is the house and not the garage. But that requires more driving into the property to access the garage. And also, when you back out of the garage on a long driveway, it would be hard and somewhat dangerous to back out straight into the street. For that reason, we designed this circular driveway so the car can get back to the street with the front and not with the back. To mitigate a larger driveway, we are using permeable pavers, concrete pavers that look like cobblestones, so it has a rich and textured appearance. We will have landscape in the front, and as you can see, the driveway kind of meanders in between the existing mature trees. the cluster of oak trees on the north side, and I forget the name of the tree on the south side facing the front of the house. We're setting up a path with pavers leading to the entry, so the entry is also prominent and visible from the public right-of-way. Basically, what you see as blue is the garage, as red is the house, and the house on the second floor overlaps the garage. Towards the back, we have a terrace. I should call it exactly, as a terrace is stepped down to the existing topography where we'll in the future build a pool. Again, the house is built with this stepped layout, so we didn't have to do any grading or build retaining walls. If you go to the next slide, please. I'll go quickly through the floor plans. I want to focus on the renderings. They illustrate better the house. The floor plan organizes with the garage to the left, again, to be less visually impactful from the main street. On the center, you have access with the entry, stairs, connects to the back. On the right side, you will have the kitchen, living room, dining room, and so forth. If you go to the next plan, please. The second floor, we want it to be step back from the overall perimeter of the house. So when you read the house from the exterior, the prominent is the base plate, the first floor, and not the second floor. And as you can see here, the second floor steps in. It varies between 5 to up to 12 feet inwards from the maximum perimeter of the house at the lower level. And we'll have balconies in certain areas, and those balconies will be private by having this guardrail built with wood slats. Also, it makes it richer from an aesthetic standpoint for the exterior, and it gives privacy for people inside the house and also outside. It goes both ways. Next slide, please.
The first spell means you have 30 seconds left, but because we pause, I'm going to give you that.
Oh, so let's just go to the rendering. If you go to the renderings, please.
Well, just a point of order, I informed the applicants they had 15 minutes to do their total presentation. So I'm going to,
I believe applicants have, and correct me if I'm wrong, was it 15 minutes or 5 minutes?
My understanding was 5.
5 minutes is
Okay.
what I was under.
okay, sorry that I was mistaken then.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Why don't you just, if you could go through your presentation pretty rapidly?
Yes.
We took an unofficial break, so.
I'll conclude quickly. If you could show the rendering of the front. Just want to talk about how the house is designed, taking consideration 360 design. The same design travels along all sides of the house with all the same elements, the same wood material, the porcelain tiles that look like concrete panels, and the metal detail travels all around the same way. If you keep scrolling through the renderings to illustrate that. This is a more detailed view of the entry door. So you will see the entry is more prominent than the garage itself is also behind the overhang, so you don't see it as much. And if you keep going, please. Another view of the front. And we'll integrate the lighting with this design. This is a view of the back. So you can see it's the same language, front and back. You can see also how the house terraces down to mitigate grading. All the windows are recessed detail. And although the house has these balconies all around, as you can see here, it's a solid baluster, but it's detailed in a way that it almost looks like open and transparent. Another view of the back. And this is the place where we're going to have the trash enclosure and the mechanical. All that is screened with this wood detail as well. And yes, and that concludes my presentation. Thank you for the extra time.
Thank you. Sorry, sir.
Stay up there.
There are some questions. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So just because you ended with that, the enclosure there, is that going to be permeable, that you can actually see through it, or is it going to be solid with just fluting on it?
It's solid. It's open on the bottom for drainage,
Just open on the bottom?
but it's
Okay.
tongue and groove is wood
Okay.
against wood. Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about the trees. So if I'm hearing correctly, that all of the oak trees and the other tree, which I believe was a jacaranda tree, they're all going to be preserved?
Correct.
Okay, so no removals of any trees?
No.
Okay. The site plan, everything is like front-loaded on the lot here, but, you know, right now, there's a big driveway and a garage in the way back. What's the plan for the way back area?
There is a plan for a lot subdivision.
Okay, so eventually it'd be subdivided in another property. What about a driveway access for back there? Would there be,
So it's pretty much the current driveway.
okay, which looks just like a pathway in here, but, you know, a walking pathway, but it's actually wide enough to have a full
Correct.
driveway down there? I see.
What's the dimension? I can't tell from,
So we will have the 20 feet required for frontage, legal frontage to the street, and access for fire department.
the width.
Exactly,
says 20.
the width. We had that on the plans at a certain point, but it became confusing to have the two, a future project mixed with the current projects. So we were asked to take it out. That will be part of a separate application. I don't have a dimension, but if you look at the existing the proposed driveway, I should say, it's 10 foot wide. If you imagine the same dimension applied along on that existing driveway on the south side, that's your 20 feet.
Yeah, just to help understand context, what you're referring to is an SB9 state mandated lot split, which does not pertain to this design review, and that's why we had them not include that in this plan.
Thank you. Board Member Welch, did you have any other questions?
No, not at this time.
Nope.
No, thank you.
Board Member Halajian?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a couple of questions, actually maybe a few. Let me start off with the design intent. So you have a flat roof with exposed I-beams at the front and the back. And then what I noticed is on the I-beam, you're proposing to put some brake metal on the as a fascia to, but it will take the same shape as the I-beam, correct? Have you thought about introducing these two different materials, which is I-beam and steel and aluminum? Eventually, that will create some rust, and these two materials will oxidize if you put them. Why don't you leave it as exposed and paint? Especially if it's taking the same shape as the I-beam.
Right, we're not going to use a structural steel. We will not have a proper I-beam. It would be too costly for this type of construction.
I see.
What we're doing is simulating that with a brake metal, basically aluminum fascia, that is shaped to look like an I-beam.
Got it. So the structural element would be made out of wood.
Wood, 100% wood, yeah.
Okay, that explains. And then, as far as the flat roof, I noticed you don't have any downspouts with the flat roof. And what's...
It will be concealed, they'll go inside the walls, in the perimeter walls.
Okay.
It's done just like a commercial roof.
But the way I'm looking at your slope, with the overhang, it looks like everything's sloping to the corners. So
You're
it doesn't
right.
seem like you have you have that thought out yet.
It's not fully flush. So basically, depending on where the wall is below, some parts of the roof, the wall below is aligned with the edge of the roof. Where we have an overhang past that exterior wall, the roof needs to slope inwards.
Exactly.
To meet where the drain is, to go straight down.
So,
Yeah.
are the level 1 walls and level 2 walls aligning them? I mean, you got to be a little bit more creative with all the windows that you have. And,
They don't need to necessarily stack perfectly. The pipes can
Sure.
just go around.
Okay. As far as the mechanical room area where you have the wood fascia, it's open top, correct? That enclosed space?
We'll need ventilation.
Yeah.
We want to cover as much as we can. It's easier to maintain if it doesn't rain straight in. But we'll need ventilation for the HVAC, the condenser that is going there.
So is water heater and the condensers are going there? Is that what it
The
is?
water heater most likely will go inside the garage.
Okay.
we might
looking
not
at
have
your-
enough space for all of it.
Yeah, I'm looking at your A200. It looks like it's the condensers, and then it's not identified, so it's kind of hard to tell. We're guessing here. So, do you have the trash and the condenser? Is that
Right.
what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense now. And then final question regarding at the entrance, you're proposing at the planter, and I just want to make sure, textured poured concrete. Are you saying this is going to be board form finish? Is that okay?
For the retaining wall on the back,
Okay.
which
So my
is
question-
largely an existing wall. We are reshaping it to accommodate the driveway,
So,
rebuilding a portion of it.
okay. I'm trying to imagine how you can do a board form on an existing, but
No, sorry. We're cutting a portion of the existing
Mhm.
because we need to push it to a different location.
and then
Rebuilding
pour-
as new.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Next we have is Rafael Muradian. Rafael, if you could just please state your name for the record. When you get closer. Thank you.
Rafael Muradia.
Thank you.
I'm the adjacent neighbor to the property, and the current property, as you know, is very depleted, outdated, not code compliant, obviously. I'm for the project. I think it's gonna add value to the neighborhood, and I'm not against any of the design, and possibly in the future, I might develop in the frontage also. So I just believe surrounding properties around me are all depleted, and he's moving forward to developing. I myself invested a lot in my own property. I developed it also, so I would like to see the neighborhood improve. That's it. That's all I want to say.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right. I don't have any more speaker cards. Do we have any callers?
There are no calls at this time.
Okay. So we're going to close the public portion of the hearing and then go into deliberation. Board Member Welch, you want to get us going?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are you on for this project?
The project for, is it this one or next one?
No.
Okay, yeah, it's not this one.
Okay.
Okay, so, leading off here, so I will say I support the project. I think it's very nicely done. I think that it's, a fitting tribute into the neighborhood there, and even though it's 2 stories, whereas a lot of 1 stories in the neighborhood, with the slope of the streets and the various mix of styles and homes, I think that it does a good job fitting in. I am very thankful that you are retaining all of the trees, especially the oak trees. They actually, when I was visiting the site, they looked very healthy to me, and so it's good that they're being preserved. The issue of, and this is, I think, directed at staff for future consideration, this issue of the parallelogram-shaped lot, I think if you're deriving things based on the frontage width and saying that's the width, for a future application of a 20-foot width, it's not actually going to provide 20 feet of actual thickness, when you're looking at it in plan, because, most sites are planned, to be rectangular, and in this case, it's not. So if the thinking is a 20-foot wide to support a driveway and walkway for a separate property, you're not going to get that out of here. So I think it needs to be considered in the thinking for the city for how to plan for subdivisions like this when you've got this odd-shaped front facade, property line. So anyway, I just want to put that out there for those considerations for the future. But regarding this project, I support it. The only thing that I would maybe recommend is that's using the same sort of wood tone for the front door and the sort of the facade accents. It sort of hides the entryway a little bit. So you might think of doing something with a contrasting color or something that, or at the very least, sort of a lighting scheme that provides some additional articulation there that really calls out that this is the entryway to the house. But that's a very minor quibble. Otherwise, I support the project. I think it's very nicely done. And that's all I really have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Welch. Board Member Halajian?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I echo the similar comments with my colleague, Board Member Walsh. I think the project is beautifully done. I would say consider now that as you're developing these plans further, consider the downspouts. If you're going to introduce any exposed downspouts, work with the staff, figure out your slopes on the roof. And as far as the trees, I would like to see a tree protection, and these guidelines are established by the city, so you can just literally copy paste, and as long as they're on the plans where a contractor can see and provide the proper protection, I think that would be helpful down the line for not just for the applicant, but also for the city and for the trees. So again, in general, I support the project, and I think it's beautifully done. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Halajian. Overall, I do agree. I think you've done a great job with putting this together. Drive by this area a lot, so I'm excited for it to come out. The residents are very excited for it to come about. In regards to the driveway, I do agree that this area, it makes sense for us to have that circular driveway, especially going up Lowell. It gets pretty crazy there sometimes, so totally agree. I like the materials, the wood sidings that you all have picked. Went to go look at it too, just a little bit better online, and it was really good. I think it's going to make it pop out in the community. I do agree with Board Member Welch in regards to the entryway door. If there is any way that we can make some sort of contrast, because right now it's blended in. I had to look at the plans to kind of see it come about. But overall, I think this is going to be very well cited for the community, and I'm in support of the project. Thank you.
So with that, Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve the project. Staff's conditions were fine with me, so unless anyone has anything else to add, I don't necessarily think that we need to add a condition for the front door.
Yeah.
Maybe we could perhaps add a consideration for it.
Consideration.
Okay, so we'll add a consideration to recommend to the applicant to vary up the detailing at the front entryway to make it a little bit more visible from the street.
Yeah. And Board Member Halajian, I know you brought up two comments too, in regards to the downspouts, and then also the protection for the trees.
Trees, yeah. I think those are not necessarily conditions. I think
Considerations?
Considerations,
Okay.
yeah. A plan to include tree protection details as well as downspouts, consideration for the downspouts, whether they're going to be exposed or not. So,
Okay. Are you all good with
Yep.
that?
and I'll second that motion.
Okay, roll call, please. Commissioner Welch,
Yes.
Commissioner Halajian,
Yes.
and Chairman Kaskanian.
Yes.
The motion is passed unanimously. Thank you, everyone, for attending on that item, and appreciate it.
Okay. So Acrobat is acting really weird, so I would recommend just using.
Can you give us maybe a little pause while we,
Yeah.
Yep.
thank you.
Go over, yeah. So
Going to
here's
take
the,
a quick
presentation.
break until we switch over. For anyone who wants to speak for this for this topic, please make sure you fill out a speaker card. You could hand it over to me or over here to staff, whatever works for you all. Thank you. Applicants and architects get 5 minutes to speak, and then public comments are 3 minutes to speak. The first bell you're going to hear means you have 30 seconds left, and then there's going to be one more bell, and that means you're finished. Thank you.
And actually, before Eric starts his presentation, as you likely know, there are 3 houses proposed on Swarthmore, and what we thought we would do is staff presentations all at once, and then if you all have any questions, we'll take them all at once, and the public hearing for all 3 houses could occur all at once, and then discussion likely would be segmented for each house, and then we'd also need 3 separate motions. All right, so Eric will start.
Thank you, Chair and members of the board. This is Planning Associate Eric G. presenting. So this project is part of a 3 new development. Originally, the property was a single lot located in the R1R zone. Currently, it is a vacant lot, as seen in the photo. On August 7, 2024, the vesting parcel map, case number 1425257, was approved to split the lot into 3, parcel A, B, and C. And here are the 3 proposed residences. So starting with parcel A and 1311 Swarthmore Drive, it is a downslope topography. The house and deck are terraced to follow the downslope topography. The site plan features a excessive hardscape in the front that staff recommends to add some additional landscape in the front, highlighted in the red. The landscape plan features drought-tolerant plants, including live coast oak trees. Here are, it's a 2-story residence going downslope to diminish the massing visible from the street. Here are the elevations. The building itself is 29 feet in total height. And it's designed with the various setbacks. And the entry is well integrated into the design of the residence. It's not monumental. However, the staff recommends restudying the feature to provide a better focal point. Finished materials, they're of high quality and reinforce the contemporary design. However, staff would recommend some additional information on the stucco color and the additional block material to be incorporated into the design where it's more visible and prominent from the street. And so here are the complete recommendations from staff to comply with the parcel map conditions, comply with the other department division recommendations, revise to add additional landscape at the front, restudy the front elevation to introduce the additional material, clarifying the stucco color palette, and including the lighting limited to certain locations that staff would approve. That concludes this presentation for 1311 Swarthmore. Thank you.
All right, good evening. We're going to transition to 1313 Swarthmore.
You mean 1315?
I'm sorry, 1315, yes.
Speak that one
No, it's, no, it is 1313.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next item on the agenda is PDR 004510-2025. It's a review of a proposal.
All right, Roger.
Yes.
Over here in front of us, just so we have 1311, 1315, and 1317.
Okay. Where's the?
Yeah, so we should have 1317 should be, I'm assuming, is typoed to 1313.
Basically, is it the one at the back, or is it the
Yeah,
one at the
sorry.
higher side?
Sorry, let's jump to Alan then.
Okay.
Well, yeah, let's jump to Alan.
Thank you. All right. So this one is, I'm the case planner for 1315, and oh, okay. Let me just zip over to my presentation here as well. Okay. Here we go. And the case number is PDR 004-511-2025. And in this, the applicant, Edward Hagobi and Associates Architects, proposes to construct a 3-story, about 3,500 square foot, or 3,490 square foot single-family dwelling with an attached 490 square foot 2-space garage. That includes grading and new landscaping, and this parcel is a 93,000 square foot parcel, or a 2.2 acre site. You'll see that is the larger parcel of the three. The project qualifies as Class 3 new construction pursuant to CEQA guidelines because the project consists of one new single-family residence. And that location, as Eric said, it is, and as you can see, it's also near Verdugo Road, Mountain Street, and College View School. And Eric already detailed the circumstances of the vesting parcel map. This project is also known as Parcel B, and it runs along the adjacent to the properties you see on the bottom of the screen here. And that's, so now this orients us to this property here. As you can see, it is the larger of the three, because it contains a lot of open space along that side. As all three properties are the restricted residential 1R1 zone, floor area District 1, and this one is also irregular shaped interior lot with an average current slope over 60%, and access will be provided by a new 18-foot wide, 32-foot long driveway.
I'm sorry, can I interject here? Because those plans are referring to the plans that I have here for 1317 Swarthmore, not 1315.
So, okay. Roger, you want to?
I think there is a typo.
On the
On
the plans
1317.
here?
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Are the plans showing this house?
Yes,
Yep.
13,
Labeled
that's shown
as-
as 1317 for those plans.
Okay, so I think, I think there was a typo on the agenda.
Okay,
Typos on the agenda.
okay. I
The
just want to make
subject
sure
property
for
is-
the public viewing, in terms of the cases here, this is 1317. We're looking at the actual plans for. Okay.
Correct. So this is 1317. What I spoke to and then we shifted was 1313.
Okay.
So, sorry.
And
That would be
there's
13.
1313 here shows, I'm assuming 1315. Because I have 1311, 1315, and 1317.
And 1315 should be 1317.
And then 1317 should be 1315.
Let's just,
So 1317 is the largest lot.
Yes.
Correct.
And that's what we're talking about.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So 1317 is correct. The agenda reflects 1315, but it should be 1317. Is that correct, Al?
Yeah, and it also helps to understand that this being a vacant land and carved up into 3 new parcels, what we're seeing is confusion about addressing, assignments of addressing. And so what might help the most is just to remember that the legal description is, because it hasn't been addressed yet technically. So the legal description is what ultimately controls what we're talking about. And so Eric just talked about parcel A, I'm talking about parcel B, and Roger will talk about parcel C. So that might help to kind of clarify, to help orient us all, the legal properties in question.
And Alan, just to confirm, parcel B has lot area of 93,000 and change.
Affirmative.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. That's,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I think we're good now.
Okay. All right. And so going back to the site plan, the access will be provided by a new 18-foot wide, 32-foot long driveway from that cul-de-sac street. And that's the driveway, but also there's a common private driveway that common driveway goes to the other property. But for this property, the pedestrian access to the front entry, as you can see in the site plan, the stairs are in the front there. The pedestrian access is along that common access driveway. The elevation, as seen from the cul-de-sac, you can see the driveway below with the total 3 stories and the retaining wall on the top. And that stairway is the egress, the exit stairway in case of emergency, ultimately. And this is the side street elevation that, I'm sorry, correction, not side street. It is an interior, but it faces that common driveway that leads to the other property, and this shows you the pedestrian front entry. With the existing and proposed, this kind of gives us a sense of the terrain as it exists today. With the proposed, there's a lot of ungraded open space on the land, includes chaparral and some drainage facilities. There are mature indigenous trees on the site, and that this proposed residence is in a contemporary architectural style with tiered elements that respond to this upslope condition. And while the architectural style differs from nearby homes on Swarthmore Drive and Avon Oak Terrace, its siding deeper into the College Hills hillside allows for a new architectural context, where every project has a sort of a sunset view from the balcony. Lastly, in determination of compatibility, we talk about site planning, mass and scale, and design and detail. So I'll briefly summarize my findings for this project. It has a compact footprint on that property which follows the slope, minimizing grading as much as possible, although there is significant grading, but in the context of the entire property, that's the effort to minimize. The front yard does stay open. The driveway and access are separated by landscaping buffer. The garage is set back sufficiently, reducing that street massing. We're having the applicant use decorative paving for pedestrian walkway. The landscaping adds sloped planters and 7 coast live oaks upslope. And there's drought-tolerant planting to improve shade and runoff. And by my calculation, 89% of the property remains open space. For mass and scale, it's compatible in the neighborhood pattern of 2-story homes, but with articulated massing. It's a different style, but the hillside siding creates a new context. It relates to 2 concurrent projects today with similar terraced schemes. The mass is broken up with varied planes, recessed volumes, fenestration, and balconies. The rear retaining wall, which is required by a safety code, it has color and landscaping to soften that appearance, and the parapet roof is articulated with projecting volumes of varied heights. And for the design and detail, it's a contemporary style with tiered forms, with varied finishes and metal details. There's consistent windows and doors. There's recessed frames that add depth to the fenestration. The front balconies create no privacy impacts relative to the neighborhood. The driveway uses pavers and will be requiring decorative paving in the setbacks. The exterior lighting shall be minimal and style consistent, and the plans will have to show their mechanical and utility elements integrated. The only one comment, I had received one comment, so let me mention that here. I think I just wrote it. Actually, I just had the conversation earlier. So we had a comment from a neighbor who was concerned about fire hazard and, oh, thank you, Roger. Because I wrote it down. Yeah. Comment, neighbor who lives in the neighborhood who can see the property from their house was concerned about potential fire hazard, loss of scenic view, and wildlife and botanical habitat. And that is all the comments I received. Given all the information presented here and in the staff report, we recommend that the project be approved with the following conditions: that number one, to comply with the conditions of the vesting parcel map decision, to comply with all the recommendations identified and comments from responsible agencies such as urban forestry and building and safety, and to revise plans before plan check in 4 ways. One is material differentiation. Eric had mentioned that as well, to vary color and finish placement from these other 2 concurrent projects, and to provide further specifications for the material details. That the driveway and walkway, to add decorative paving in the setbacks and for the private walkway, and to limit lighting fixtures to the garage, entries and exits only, and to ensure that is consistent. And lastly, for utilities and equipment to show all mechanical, gutter, vents, roof protrusions to make sure they're integrated with design. It's a very standard condition we typically have. With that, that concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions as well. And now for Roger's presentation. So. There we go. Okay.
Great. Sorry about the addressing confusion. The next item on the agenda is PDR 0004510-2025. It is a review of a proposal to construct a new 3-story, 3,465 square foot residence and attached 2-car garage. The residence is proposed on one of the 3 lots created by parcel map 1635. This lot is approximately 79,500 square feet, zoned R1R, floor area ratio District 3. I'm going to go over the next number of slides pretty quickly. Location map, which you've seen a couple times, street view, site plan. If you'll notice, the site is outlined in red, and the house is really located in the south, sort of west corner of it. This is the west or the front elevation, north elevation, south elevation, and then the rear or east elevation. A couple project renderings showing all 3 houses, and this is looking like from the Verdugo area. The first floor plan, which is the lowest level, that is really kind of below the topography. The second floor, which includes the main living areas and the garage. And then the upper level with a couple bedrooms. Landscape plans and materials. So generally, the site planning for the project is acceptable. As mentioned in the staff report, the proposed residence is located in the northwestern corner of the future site, which significantly limits the amount of grading to access and accommodate the house. The remainder of the lot is going to remain natural in its natural state. Much of the usable outdoor space is in the form of the front-facing balconies, although there is a rear yard. And that is best shown here. You can also see the first floor balconies here, the second floor balconies here, and then the third floor balconies up here. The front-facing attached garage is consistent with the neighborhood pattern, and proposed landscaping will soften the appearance of the proposed built environment. Native oak trees are proposed near the residence, and rosemary is proposed near the retaining walls, which will sort of billow down and soften the walls. With regard to mass and scale, the project is generally consistent with the Hillside Design Guidelines. The proposed residence follows the topography of the site as the second and third floors set back from the floors below it. The proposed residence really has very little relationship with the adjacent existing homes, I think has been mentioned before. The three homes that are proposed tonight are similar in terms of design, size, and mass and scale. The front elevation has many undulations in plane, which reduces the appearance of the mass and scale. And the flat roof is consistent with the contemporary design of the residence. So with regard to design and detailing, again, generally appropriate with the Hillside Design Guidelines with a couple conditions. Overall, the overall design of the residence is internally consistent, and the materials used convey and reinforce a contemporary styled residence. The entry is well sited into the design of the residence and not monumental, but the board really should consider restudying this entry to just make it a better focal point. A lot of times we kind of suggest doing the opposite, but in this case, I will show you the elevation. The colored elevations here, they're really, you'll find the front door, but it might be good to distinguish it a little bit more. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay, sorry. So, with regard to finished material, the finished material are of high quality and again reinforce the contemporary design aesthetic. One of the conditions related to related design and detailing is light specifications should be submitted to staff for their review and approval. So staff is recommending approval of the project with 7 conditions and 2 considerations. These include, I'll go over them briefly, compliance with the conditions of the vesting tentative map, compliance with other departments' comments, the applicant shall amend the material board to include the front door material, or what the front door is going to look like. And then the style of the door should be reviewed and approved by staff. The fourth comment, that the applicant shall restudy the front elevation of the residence to incorporate additional split-face block on the facade or introduce a third facade material. And then all facade material shall wrap around exterior walls and terminate appropriately. This was most apparent or most important on the front elevation, where the garage is faced in a split face and then the lowest level split faced, but staff is suggesting either more split face on the more visible elevations or a third material be added. The fifth comment, the applicant shall clarify the stucco color palette and amend the material board if the stucco is proposed to be in more than one color. Stucco shall be smooth or trowel finished. The elevations sort of suggest there'll be two stucco colors. They have some shadow lines, but the material board only showed one stucco color, so just clarification on that matter. A condition, as I mentioned, on the lighting. Condition on the mechanical equipment be shown on amended site plan and shall be screened from view from the public right-of-way. And then two conditions. Or two considerations, I should say. Consider resetting the entryway of the proposed residence to better, with changes in color or facade treatment which better highlight this area as a focal point. And then consider resetting the color palette of the residence to provide more color contrast. If you'll note, the split face block and the stucco really are very similar in color. So that concludes my presentation. If the board has any questions of any of us, we're happy to entertain them.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? I have a question in regards to one of the comments we have here from the public about, and this was a comment by the phone, about potential fire hazard. I just wanted to check with staff. It's not within our purview. I know the fire department goes out and they ensure, or they do their own reporting, correct, if I'm not mistaken?
Correct, yeah.
What else do they, just so the comment community has like a better understanding of that, do they go in?
Yeah, what they will do in the plan check phase is they will look at landscape plans, they will look at access around the site, they'll look at the proposed common driveway and make sure they've got adequate access.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So no other questions right now? We'll go into the public portion. I have a couple speaker cards over here, and just to remind everyone, the applicant and the architect gets 5 minutes, and then everyone else gets about 3 minutes. First we have is the applicant, Edward Hagopian. If you could please just say your name for the record, sir.
Edward Hagopian.
Thank you.
I'm the architect of this project, and looks like there's a lot to say, but I'm trying to simplify that as much as possible. My main intention with this hillside projects is to do the second floor and third floor to set back so that we don't see straight facade going up. And as you can see in the plan, it's playfulness. The whole facade is broken into different depths, different lengths. That's the main idea I have for this project. For roof drain downspouts, we have thicker walls in the front and in the sides. If you see in the plans, we can use either exposed pipes or inside wall pipes. It's up to you to decide, or if you allow me to choose whichever of is more practical. For things like water heater and things like that, we have plenty of big closets that we can hide those things there. I agree with the staff comments, and I'll do it accordingly. I don't have much to say unless if you have any questions.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian, these are obviously very related projects in one development here. It's like almost like a subdivision, you might think. Did you consider doing different styles for each of the houses?
This area is when the street goes up, then it goes down, and that whole area is not visible from the main street and from neighbors. And the owner likes the modern style. I have designed some houses in that area, but there are all kinds of it. But this one, the owner likes the modern style.
Okay, could you clarify for me one of the things that, I mean, in this rendering, I see this project here, this house, which I think is parcel B. It seems to have like a very contrasting color in these two sort of vertical column forms.
Yes.
None of the other homes have that, and I don't see anything that is similar to that in the material board. It was referenced as hardy board in the
The
elevations.
siding,
Okay,
that's siding a different color.
okay, so it is a different color, but I don't see it on the material board that was presented for all the projects.
Okay, we'll include that.
Okay, so it is a darker contrasting color.
Yes,
So
yes.
this one project has a variation that is different from the other two?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
By the way, regarding the address, original address was 1311, 1313, 1315. But the owner didn't like 1313. That's why we changed it to
Got it, okay.
1350.
And we're working on that on our end. Once the parcels get finalized, our addressing people are aware that that's going to shift.
Okay.
Okay, so the owner likes modern style, I understand. Modern style is often, featuring flat roofs, but not always flat roofs. There are many different styles of modern homes that have some slanted roofs, shed roofs, even curved roofs. And could you put any consideration into varying up some of the forms of this? The reason why I ask is because when I look at this, especially when I look at these kinds of elevations, and these will be visible from all the houses across the valley there, because there's a hillside right opposite, so they'll see it, and it just looks a little office building-y to me.
I appreciate your comment, but there is so much in the elevations, so much back and forth and up and down that it creates a lot of different angles, different volumes of these three houses. And I think that should be good enough to have a modern style and without that kind of playfulness in the facade. By the way, we have glass railings. Did you see that?
Glass railings?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so the two different elevations, the two different renderings I'm looking at are different. So
Yeah, not of-
this is the more correct one with the glass railings.
Yes.
Okay. Because this one looks like wire cables.
We have this glass railings here. See? But these are all glass railings.
Okay, I hear you. It's just that, to me, they look
You
like
can see the shiny,
cables, not,
shiny.
yeah, these ones
glasses.
these ones look like glass. These other ones don't look like glass, but that's fine. Yeah, I accept the clarification. That's it.
Member Lodging?
Mr. Hagopian, have you, just out of curiosity, have you guys done a study how much earthwork quantity is going to?
That is something that our engineer will
Okay,
respond,
sure.
comment on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Board Member Lodging?
No.
No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have is Haig Martirosyan. If you could please state your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Haik Mardirosyan. I'm the civil engineer of this project. I've been working on this project for the last 12 years. I got to the point that the parcel map was approved a year ago, and we are in the county right now to get our final map recorded. Just to answer the question that I heard that one of the neighbors was asking for the land, fire hazard, there is a code that we have to have a fuel modification around the hillside area. Every year they have to clean it, maybe 100 feet away from each house to clean it. So that's one of the areas that our landscape architect has to incorporate it into his plans if he hasn't done it so. As far as the earthwork, we have done the grading for entire subdivision. And I broke it down in pieces for each parcel map, and each parcels. Parcel A has certain amount of cut and fill, parcel B and parcel C. And because there is a roadway that we are dedicating to city, there is more earthwork involved with that area. So by analyzing all this earthwork, we have a little bit of more on one parcel that we're cutting and we're putting on the other parcel as a fill area. So at the end of the day, we have a little bit around 2,400 cubic yard of export done for the entire parcels, for the entire project. So that's what we analyzed the grading for entire the track rather than doing single parcel on the basis on what we're gonna end up having later on. Once we have our design review board approved and ready the plans for the building plan checks, then we will sit down and break down all the retaining walls and whatever involved with the grading, so it might be less than what is required to do.
Okay. As far as drainage, what's the plan? I mean, you're creating a lot of flat surface, and if
Okay,
you're
for
working
the
on-
drainage, I'm proposing, based on the stormwater mitigation that involves in this state of California, we have to maintain most of the water within our property. So I'm proposing to do within the planter boxes, rain gardens, at least for each parcel, they will collect their own rain gardens or rainwater, whatever it is. We will keep it within the property line. And the overflow, we will just send it on the street. In case, 100 years store, because we are designing for 85th percentile, which is a little bit more than 50 years of storm. So we're collecting everything. On each parcel, they will have their own mitigation measures.
Okay. But that, we don't, I guess it's not in the preview of this committee, but I wish, we also have to be cognizant of the neighbors, because I heard a comment that's saying even though the look or the aesthetics of the structures are kind of irrelevant with the neighboring, but the water is, and it's gonna end up in somebody's,
I understand correctly. There is a area that we can infiltrate into the soil rather than taking every water out. But it does depend on the type of the soil this site is.
Sure.
If it doesn't allow us to infiltrate, then we don't have any choice to send the water out on the public right-of-ways. So my main concern was just to maintain all the water within each parcel, within their own site. And then we will see what the overflow is gonna be, then we will take it out.
So I guess these plans are still developing, you haven't finalized it yet. Your intent is to keep it on site to the best you can?
No, right now we keep it on site.
Okay.
We keep it on site. Our proposal was to keep it on site. Once we got this design review board approval and ready for the working drawings for the plan check, then we will incorporate our proposal into it.
Okay. Well, that's all my questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have is Anne Marie Smith. Hello, Anne Marie. If you could please just say your name for the record.
Anne Marie Smith.
Thank you.
I've lived on Avon Oak, which is perpendicular to this site of the proposed development for 23 years, and I take frequent walks, weekly, bi-weekly, to that area, particularly to that point that they want to develop on. And I'm always amazed at the fresh air that it gives me to look out over the natural habitat of the foliage and the wildlife in that area. So I am against it for many reasons, that including I'm concerned for the fire safety, landslides, which we have had in the region in the mid-2000s. And the view is overlooking Verdugo Park and the beautiful Armenian church. And it is really a quality part of our neighborhood, a quality part of life of living, to have that open, fresh air in the midst of all of the buildings of the home. So I just want to keep it there for our wildlife and for our own quality. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next we have is Alan Arzunian, sorry. So you're good? If you could just say your name for the record, please.
My name is Alan Arzumanian. First of all, I wanted to ask Roger, is that Roger? Is it possible you could show the helicopter view of the driveways?
The 3D view is what he's referring to, the rendering with all the, is what I'm assuming, the houses.
No, top view. Is there a
I
top
think
view?
it was at the beginning of the presentation, maybe first
That's
or second
critical
one.
because this basically is a flag lot and the access is only 18 feet. If there's a fire, especially being next to all these bushes and everything that's out there on the hill, you can't get more than one fire truck in there. And if they want to get out, they have to reverse out. That's a huge problem. And I haven't seen the fire department actual approval before we go and talk about stucco colors, right? Where's the fireman approval to bring in fire trucks as necessary to protect these 3 homes? That's number one. Number two is, these are not small homes. They're 3,500 square feet. You're not going to have one person or 2 people living here. You're going to have big families. And each one of them is going to have 4 to 5 cars. Where are these cars going to park? You have an 18-foot driveway. You can't park in there. Where are you going to park? That should be put double, triple, so fire trucks can come in. And I'm afraid it's not being able to be supported because of being forced on. They had to do that because of the grading and all the different angles and all the different aspects to make this work. And especially, of course, I don't blame them. They're developers. They want to get as many square feet as possible because each one is a dollar sign, right? So to conclude, I don't know how much time I have left, but if you take a helicopter view, which I don't know why we don't have one, because that's very important for you and for me to be able to present my view here.
Alan, if you can go back, I think the first presentation we did, or you did, it was, yeah.
You mean a view of the Vestine parcel map?
Well, just 80 shot of the top view.
With
If you're in
the
a
house.
helicopter looking down, what do you see?
Like a satellite view.
This is the first presentation, so let me just go through it. Tell me to stop
Okay.
when you see what you want.
That one?
Yeah, I've seen you go through it. I don't think there is
Right,
one.
right.
Is it this one? Because that has the driveway that you're talking about.
Go back to maybe second or third. Second or third, please, Roger. One more? Yep, that's the one. That's all we have right now.
Could you go back like 5? You had one shot that was pretty close. It was a drawing, not an actual picture, but. Yeah, this one? That's 18 feet wide. Where are these people going to park cars? They're all going to be at least 5 cars per home. You can't park in that 18-foot driveway. Where are they going to go? And if a fire truck comes in, again, where is the fire department's approval? In case there is a fire, you can't get more than one truck in there. We need to have that approval before we go any further.
You have 10 more seconds, sir.
Yeah, okay. I think that this should be all put aside until you get an okay from the fire department.
Thank you, sir.
18 foot doesn't cut it.
Thank you so much for your time. All right, next we have is Maro Yakubian. Maro, if you could please just state your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Maro Yakubian. I'm just curious to know if any of the commissioners here have actually been to the site. I served on the Transportation and Parking Commission with you, Commissioner Welch, and when there was a speed bump that needed to be put down on any street in Glendale, we went there to see the impact that it would have on the community. If you've been out there, which you're nodding you have, it would have a tremendous impact on this community. If you looked into the history of this area, you'll recall that prior city council denied a set for this area to be developed. They set a strong precedent. The Glendale City Council explicitly rejected development in this area, in this exact area, in 1993, after hours of public testimony and careful review. That decision was not procedural. It was substantive, based on land use compatibility, environmental sensitivity, and community impact. Approving even a reduced version now undermines the authority and reasoning of that prior decision. This was not only a community opposition, but city planning staff recommended against this project at the time, signaling that the site failed to meet accepted planning safety standards. Those same physical constraints, steep terrain, access limitation, and environmental risks have not changed. In fact, they've gotten worse. Since that time, we've had several major fires in this area. The ridge-line hillside raises persistent concerns. The slope instability, the increased landslide and runoff risks, the fire access and evacuation challenges, the impact on wildlife. The grading, the limited road access, utilities permanently alter the hillside, creating risks. There have been no new justifications that have been presented, no evidence of new environmental studies overturning the past findings. In fact, as I stated, there have been several major fires in that exact area. The 1993 City Council's decision was the decisive moment that protected this hillside from development. Allowing these homes does not correct an error. It reverses a well-reasoned public policy decision. I ask you all to reject these plans. Thank you.
Thank you, Maro. Go to the next one after. All right, next we have is Susan Brusalian.
Hello, my name is Susan Brusalian. I'm a resident of the College Hills community. The residents of the College Hills community have major concerns regarding these proposed projects. Some questions. Has a full environmental impact report actually analyzed the real impacts of these projects on the existing College Hills community? If so, where's that analysis? Specifically, where does the EIR address health and safety impacts to the neighboring established homes during all phases of construction? This includes prolonged grading, hillside excavation, blasting or rock fracturing, and continuous heavy construction activity immediately adjacent to occupied residents. Where's the analysis of airborne particulates generated by excavation and hillside disturbance, particulates that will be inhaled daily by residents, including seniors, children, and other sensitive populations? Where's the assessment of cumulative exposure over months and years of construction? What mitigation measures are proposed for vibration, soil displacement, slope destabilization, and potential structural damage to surrounding properties caused by aggressive hillside grading and construction activity? The fire access clearance is very important, as the previous two speakers indicated. And where does the EIR evaluate the irreversible disruption of the hillside itself, including noise, dust, safety risks, and physical impacts, on a built-out neighborhood that was never designed to absorb this level of development intrusion? We need our defensible space around the existing homes of College Hills. These are not hypothetical concerns. They are foreseeable, site-specific impacts that CEQA requires to be analyzed and mitigated, not deferred, minimized, or ignored. Again, Glendale has confronted this issue in this specific area before, as the previous speaker to me outlined. City Council rejected it, and planning and staff also supported that rejection. This project raises the same red flags and the same responsibility to you. Approving the construction of this intensity without a complete, transparent, and defensible environmental analysis exposes the city to significant risk and undermines the CEQA Act. Is that it? Oh, okay, thank you. Are two of these parcels, correct me if I'm wrong, being built on a landfill? And the drainage that the engineer was talking about, where is the drainage? Where on the street? And if the water just pools there, what's it gonna do to the soil? That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Next we have is Michael. Michael Bergman.
Got it.
Thank you. You could just say your name for the record, sir.
Of course. Michael Bergman, and I want to say thank you so much first to the chairman, Mr. Chairman, thank you, to the members of the board, thank you for holding this forum tonight. As I said, my name is Michael Bergman. I am a homeowner in the College Hills and also a member of the board of the College Hills Association. I am here to formally object to the 3 proposed residential projects located past the dead end on Swarthmore Drive. College Hills is a small, established hillside community of only 103 homes. Developed in the mid-1960s, and shortly after that, my family moved in there in 1976. This proposal is not simply about 3 houses. It's about access, safety, environmental responsibility, and long-term precedent. Fire safety and defensible space are our most urgent concerns. College Hills is located in a designated high fire risk area with limited ingress and egress. I was there in '90 when the neighborhood burned, and it was terrifying. I don't ever want to go through that again. Swarthmore Drive is already constrained and was never designed to support a subdivision level development. Adding construction traffic, heavy equipment, future residents, service vehicles, and increased evacuation demand creates unacceptable levels of risk. During a wildfire condition, seconds matter. As I said, I lived through it. I still have nightmares about it. It was awful. Under CEQA, to your point, Mr. Chairman, and thank you. Under CEQA, projects are required to be evaluated cumulatively. Yet these 3 homes are being treated as separate developments rather than a single unified impact on one hillside access corridor. CEQA exists to prevent exactly this type of piecemeal approval that avoids full environmental, traffic, and safety review. Beyond fire and traffic concerns, these projects fundamentally alter the character of College Hills. College Hills has always been an innovator in Glendale. We were the first community to actually have our power lines underground. That's just a cool little factoid which I was able to research. There is also documented concern for the city itself. In April 2025, the City Public Works Department raised issues regarding the layout of these proposed projects, including fire turning points, emergency access, and fire protection. These concerns directly relate to defensible space and the need for a fire buffer zone. Construction of these homes would eliminate existing defensible space that currently protects College Hills and would introduce an immediate and ongoing fire threat in the neighborhood. Was that the? Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, do we have any callers?
Yes, we do.
Looks like one.
Well, there might be more. You have to close the windows.
And then we also have
Two.
an
Two.
opportunity for the applicant to come for a rebuttal as well. So after the callers, we'll have, if the applicant or the engineer wants to come up with a rebuttal, they can.
Nancy, are you on the?
Oh, yes, I am.
Great.
I'm sorry.
You-
Okay.
You have 3 minutes. Thanks.
Okay, previous speakers from our neighborhood strongly opposed this development. I don't think I can be as eloquent as them, but I do live at the southwest corner of the intersection of Swarthmore Drive and Avon Terrace, and I'm extremely concerned, and my family is also concerned about serious negative effects of this major development. And my first concern is the high fire hazard, and the surrounding undeveloped land has always been a fire buffer zone, and the houses built there will add to the fire risk, and they'll be at risk of what will happen to them during a fire, as the previous speakers mentioned, and I don't see how the access is suitable for the fire trucks, and there's a risk of ignition from a cigarette, an outdoor grill, a spark just from gardening equipment on a hot day, and fire risk during the construction process. And I also lived through the 1990 College Hills fire and the 2015 fire that started at the College View construction site. I'm concerned about the unstable sandy soil, the fill in that little canyon, and I've walked there in the past, and I don't see how that can be appropriate for this kind of development. It's so steep. And I spoke to the surveyor who was there in 2014, early 2015, who told me he didn't think it could ever be developed. It was too steep and just not right. And but let's see. And in addition, the native wildlife and the ecosystem will be permanently altered. We have a pocket of nature that has been there since the 2 freeway was extended in the late 1970s, and everything is peaceful and fine. And I just think that it should remain a safe place for us. And I think that the people who move into those houses will be at risk from fire, and I hope it can remain as is, as an intact area, safe and peaceful for everyone living there now. And I think it's even worse than what Polygon. The flat area above was deemed unsuitable, and I think this is even worse because it's all on that steep canyon area. That's all I had to say, and I thank you for listening, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One more caller.
Okay.
Tim Martinez, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, you have 3 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and members of the Design Review Board. My name is Tim Martinez. I'm with the Arroyos and Foothills Conservancy, AFC. We are a local land trust, and we work to protect and manage natural open space, wildlife habitat, and regional wildlife corridors throughout the San Rafael Hills, including Glendale and the Verdugo Mountains, also in Glendale, and the San Gabriel Mountains. I'm speaking to you tonight because the Swarthmore Drive parcels are located within an active and functioning wildlife corridor. It's a wildlife movement area in the San Rafael Hills. In reviewing the 2024 subdivision record, it stated that this landscape was characterized as in the process of becoming someday so fragmented that wildlife populations would inevitably be reduced or eliminated over time, even though it did state that there were coyotes, bobcats, mule deer, and so on. Based on AFC's long-term land stewardship, monitoring, and conservation work in this area, that conclusion is not accurate. AFC has permanently protected multiple strategic properties that together maintain regional connectivity from the San Gabriel Mountains over at the Arroyo Seco in Pasadena through the San Rafael Hills, and that includes safe passage across Chevy Chase Canyon and through this very area, and also at the foot of the Verdugo Mountains. So the wildlife movement through this system is real, and it's ongoing, and it's already been secured through our conservation efforts that were specifically designed to maintain that east-west passage through this landscape. I also want to raise the broader site context concerns that have been mentioned by many of the speakers relating to the fire risk. I understand that the fire access, it seems, is reviewed by the fire department in their purview. However, these parcels, as has been mentioned, are located within an extremely high fire hazard severity zone and at the upper edge of natural open space. So whether development should even be approved in these locations is a land use question that we think deserves consideration somewhere in this entitlement process. In addition, Glendale's requirement, which was mentioned by the applicant for 100 feet of defensible space around the homes, has significant implications in hillside environments. This practice, this clearance, extends, again, 100 feet and results in substantial habitat removal. Vegetation removal is habitat removal. And even though these parcels, most of the parcels described as natural open space, this defensible space requirement is going to degrade that natural habitat and reduce the connectivity for the wildlife. So we respectfully urge the board to consider the wildlife movement, the wildfire risk, and defensible space impacts together, not in isolation. If the project is approved, then AFC strongly encourages the application of conditions that minimize habitat disturbance, preserve permeability between natural lands, and maintain meaningful buffer areas between the existing neighborhood and the adjacent open space. I've also submitted written comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have another, no more.
Actually, sorry to interject. I wanted to ask the caller, you mentioned that you had submitted written comments?
I did, through email, yes.
Who did you email them to?
I believe it was a generic email to the design review board.
Okay, all right. We'll try to track that down then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a speaker card over here, Paul Voskanyan, applicant. If you could please just state your name for the record.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Paul Voskanyan. I'm applicant. Our family is working on this project for past 14 years already, and I'm kind of surprised with this furious approach to this project. I respect everyone's opinion, but I think the whole thing of this meeting and the staff members is to develop safe and fire safe, especially those days, process to incorporate and build those houses. So if something will be done on this project, it definitely will be compliant with every laws and regulations in this state and in this beautiful city. So when they bring up the fire departments, it definitely will be done in timely manner. So if there is something needs to be done, and this project is done for our family, so we definitely want to be safe and sound in terms of safety, environment, fire safety. So I'm not quite sure, and I understand where this point of concern comes from. It looks like people that are going to live in this house, my family going to be living in this house, we're not concerned about fire hazard. So again, when this project will be in process, all the compliance will be met. All the regulations that we must meet will be met and will comply, and make sure that habitat and all those details will be approached as gently as it's possible. Thank you very much for your time, and have a good one.
Thank you so much. All right. I wanted to see if the architect or the civil engineer had anything they wanted to bring up as a rebuttal, and then we're closing it out for the public portion.
Hi, once again, Haik Mardirosyan, I'm the engineer. Before we started this project, we met with the fire department. Based on their recommendation, we created this cul-de-sac, big enough to have a turnaround for their fire engines. We have a 70 feet diameter cul-de-sac. Usually they have 60 feet. So they ask us to increase it to 70 feet. So we have enough area for their engine to turn around. Beside, the long driveway that we have for the parcel C has a turnaround of its own. So I don't see any problem with the fire engine going back there. Beside, all these new homes are going to have fire sprinkler. I mean, the old houses, they didn't have a fire sprinkler. These new codes require that all new built houses, especially in hillside, to be fire sprinklered. I don't know why these people are, I know they're concerned, but it's nice to have an open space for them to trespass other people's property and walk in the morning and in the afternoon. Well, all of a sudden they see there's a new building there, they don't like it. But the ideas that are coming up, these lots are all subdivided. They are all approved by commissioner. All these comments came in the same meeting that we had with the planning commissioners, and they all approved it. These properties are approved for 3 single-family built. So it doesn't matter if the house is going to be 10,000 square feet or 2,000 square feet. There is going to be a house built on these 3 parcels. So I just want to make sure that all the conditions that are going to be put on this project by you commissioners, we're all going to be met. They're all going to be in compliance with it. We're not going to cut any corners and build something that is not going to be in compliance with the city codes and regulation. So that's all I had to say.
Did anyone have any questions?
I do, yes.
Yes, go ahead.
So one of the speakers talked about this as potentially having been landfill, so I'd be curious if you could address that comment. And then secondly, I assume given the nature of the hillside that all of these homes will be built on a caisson foundations, so would you care to comment
Sure.
and address those?
Sure. We have a soil and geologist on this project, and they have already gave us a report. The area that landfill is going to be is not that much. It's only on the parcel A that we're cutting from the other parcel and benching into the natural ground. So that's the only one. I heard that.
When I hear landfill, I'm talking about like a sanitation landfill.
No.
What you're talking about is,
I'm sorry,
grading,
yes.
grading,
This
right?
is the first time I heard that
Yeah.
that area is landfill. I never
Okay.
seen that area in the middle of the city of Glendale.
So that issue
We
never
have-
came up in your
Never came
soils
up in our
engineering?
soil and geology report,
Okay.
and I don't know where that landfill came in.
Okay,
My understanding was because we are filling portion of that area, that's what they're calling as a landfill, but no,
okay.
there is no landfill. And all those hillside homes are gonna build on the pile and caissons as much as they can.
Just to be clear, there's no environmentally hazardous trash or waste. That's the definition of landfill to me. So there's no.
No, there is nothing, no.
Is there evidence that this had been a previous landslide zone?
I'm not aware of any of them.
Okay.
As I said, I was involved with this project in 2014. Never seen any.
Based on the soil reports, do you have any preliminary estimates as to how deep those caissons are going to be for the varying houses?
They usually recommend to go 10 feet into the bedrock. So in some portion, I think we will go maybe 15, 20 feet. I'm not sure exactly. I don't have the numbers with me right now. But usually, based on their estimation, 10 feet into the bedrock.
So typically, you're talking about 15 feet
Embedment.
from the natural grade.
Yes, embedment 10 feet into the bedrock.
So that would imply that the bedrock is perhaps around 5 feet on average below the
Probably.
topsoil?
I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
Any other questions? Board Member Walsh?
I think that's it for the engineer.
Okay.
I have one more question. So you said you walked with the fire department. Have they given you a preliminary approval of from the fire department, where the fire hydrant's going to be access and egress?
No, we sat down with them a couple of times just for the access and for the houses, for the emergency access in and out. That's what we discussed with them, and they came up with this plan.
So they gave you preliminary guidelines, but you don't have the final approval from the fire
No,
department?
we don't have it until we go back into the plan check. That fire hydrant comes from fire department in connection with the GWP. So
Yep.
they would know exactly where they're gonna put the fire hydrants.
Okay. Yeah, I guess my question is, that's still in the process? It hasn't
That's
been
still in
okay.
the process, I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for the engineer?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, you
You're
have
next,
you're
actually.
next.
I am wondering that if existing condition stays, what will happen? The heavy rain will wash all these dirt and end up God knows where. If we have 3 houses with all pavings, foundations deep in the soil, pavings in the driveway, and houses with fire sprinklers, which most probably 90% of the existing houses don't have it. What do those people think that if it stays the way it is, what will happen? At least if you build these houses, things will be controlled, mitigated, and problems solved. If we don't solve these things, the problem will stay there forever.
Thank you. Any questions? Any questions?
There was one thing I forgot to bring up when you were talking earlier, and I'd like to raise it now since we're still in the public hearing. For the parcel C, the trash enclosure that is called out in the plans is inside the garage, but as I'm looking at it, it can't go there, because you have a staircase that has to go downstairs from that. So I'm going to be creating a condition that calls for relocating that trash enclosure, just so you
We
know.
can take care of these minor things.
Yeah, and then the other one was on house, parcel number A, the trash enclosure was like inside the house. And I don't think that that's a necessarily good location for it, so I'll probably be discussing with my colleagues about if we want to condition that. So aside from that, I just want to get a clarification. We had a speaker talk about an 18-foot driveway, but my understanding is that the driveway is 20 feet, or it should be 20 feet. Can you clarify what the driveway width is for that leading up to parcel, I think it is C?
That's on the, apologize, what's on the, from the cul-de-sac that takes you to the 2 parcels, what's the width of that driveway? Is it? Do you see a dimension there, Alan?
Yeah, I could, while you discuss, I'll see if I can open up a plan with high resolution.
Our plans are,
I'll open up a plan with the higher resolution.
maybe I'm getting old, Mr. Welsh.
Need your magnifying glass. Yeah, so those were the only questions that I had. I just wanted to get a clarification on that driveway.
Of the houses that I have designed, we have 2 types of trash enclosure location. Either it's inside or outside. Both ways works.
But inside is typically inside the garage usually, right?
Either inside the garage or next to the garage, some kind of location that is extra, you can use it for that purpose. These are minor things that can be taken care of in different solutions.
I understand. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
This is the only exhibit that I could find that helps us understand the width. This line is 15 feet from the center line of the driveway to the wall of the house, because I think that's supposed to indicate like a, so.
No, the page you were just on, which I think was above it, I saw a reference to a 20-foot width.
That, yeah, that was on, it might have.
No, it wasn't that one.
Because the.
Right, yeah, right there.
Well,
Yeah.
oh,
right.
here we go.
Yes.
It's 20 feet.
That upside down figure indicates 20 feet. That would be planned
Yes.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
that
'cause
common
my understanding is
access.
that would be the required
Yes.
width for a driveway like that. Okay.
That's, yeah, as per the parcel map. And I think that is consistent with what the plans ultimately show for that common access driveway, for the width of it.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for staff or any other questions?
I guess, yeah, I'd like to talk to staff about this testimony about this city council rejection of this height back in 1993. And, I mean, this is kind of outside our purview, but I assume that this was something that came up in the planning commission when the parcel map was approved. So can you speak to that a little bit? Do you know what happened there?
I'm actually looking at the staff report now. I wasn't, none of us were involved in that parcel map. If you can give me a couple minutes, I'm going to just scan the staff report. And,
Please do.
Okay.
And maybe question to Alan, why EIR is not required for this site?
It is not.
And
There-
the reason being?
it's, in urbanized areas, up to 3 single-family homes can be exempt from CEQA.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions that, while I'm looking at this, we can sort of?
We could probably start our deliberations
Yeah.
and he can just chime in.
Okay, yeah. We can start the deliberation, and then Roger, whenever you get that, if you could please just let us know.
Sure.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna close the public hearing now and go into deliberation. Board Member Walsh, do you want to get us going?
Sure. Okay, so, again, we're not really here to opine on the subdivision, so that's been pretty much done. So our purview here is really to address the three characteristics that go into our, deliberations, which is the site planning, the design and detailing, and the massing considerations. So for these projects, and I'm just generally going to speak about all of them together, I do have some particular thoughts to give on some of the individual ones, which as we get into moving that forward, we get to. But I mean, generally speaking, I did visit the site, and I walked up there, and it is basically a street that just sort of dead ends, and it's just the width of it. So I think one of the things I noted was that they're adding a big cul-de-sac here, which is a good consideration. It is good for the fire trucks to move around. We've had cases before where, they're adding houses on these dead-end streets where there's no space for any kind of turnaround. So at least there's a consideration here to give that space for a fire truck turnaround. So I think that that's actually a good thing. I am a little concerned about the parking. One of the speakers talked about, the fact that these houses basically are condensed into a tight area, and nobody's going to be able to park on that driveway. Even though it's 20 feet wide, still barely going to enable the regular cars to go up and down. So I would be a little concerned about how people get parking on there, but again, that's not really within our purview, So it's something that's the applicants should think about, is where guests are going to park when they're here visiting these homeowners, where extra people, in the families, because these are large homes. We're talking 4, sometimes 5 bedrooms. So it's going to be more than just, a couple with young kids living in these homes. There will be extra cars. So it is definitely something that I think needs to be considered by the applicant as they're finalizing these plans, the location for guest parking. Unfortunately, it is not within our purview to make a finding based on that. It is just not something that the code allows us to do. So now, moving into those areas where we do have jurisdiction. From a site planning characteristic, I think that the overall plan is done well. It's basically continuing the street at roughly the same level as where it peaks up there. There's some dip down there a little bit, but it's largely keeping it at the same level and basically building the houses around that sort of street that will give structural integrity to the hillside. Mr. Hagobian is correct. When you are building homes on what could be a very unstable hillside, if you are putting caissons down to the bedrock, you're locking that in. It's basically each house is like a retaining wall for the hillside. So it will actually help maintain the structural integrity of the hillside, not hurt it. And I think that the buildings, all of them, follow the topography. That's something that we are always looking for. And from that perspective, I think it's appropriate. I think where I'm going to, have a little bit of concern is going to be on the design and the detailing, not so much on the massing, because I think, as our architect has said, they've done a lot of work to break up the massing, to vary the planes of the facades, to step back the upper levels. So all of the things that we typically look for have already been addressed. So from that perspective, I think that I don't have any objection to that. The only one would be, again, the design and the detailing. As I look at this, view of the homes all together, it looks like a corporate, not apartment complex, office complex, And I would like to see it look a little bit more residential as opposed to corporate. But, again, it's not something that I feel super strongly about, because different people have different views of design. And the best thing I think that we can do is maybe to vary it up a little bit, rather than them all looking the exact same, maybe we create some different variations, some different colors on some of the different homes, so that it doesn't look like all one big complex. It's actually 3 distinct homes. Because I think that that's what we really should be looking towards, is establishing that these are 3 distinct homes, not 3 homes in a family compound or something like that. And, maybe it is going to be a family compound, I don't know. But from our perspective, we have to plan for the long term, and that means that we have to assume that, it's going to be owned by different people over time, and, we want to integrate it into a neighborhood, and the neighborhood is consisting of multiple different homes of multiple different colors and different styles. So I think we want to try and do the same thing and respect the diversity of the neighborhood by having a little bit more diversity in the design language here. So now that I've narrowed down what I'm talking about, I would like to specifically call out parcel B, because that house is the only one that has that differentiation. It uses the Hardy-Backer siding in those 2 sort of vertical elements of the facade, and I think those work well to distinguish it. I would encourage each of the other homes to also employ some element of a differentiating feature. I think Mr. Kiesel had called out for that as well, adding an additional facade element, whether it's color, material, whatever. But it shouldn't be the same as what's on parcel B. It should be something different, so that we're having different, colors and contrasts that are on the different ones. They're still going to look very similar. It's all similar design. I'm just saying let's vary up the color and materials a little bit to make them look like 3 individual homes as opposed to one complex. And then finally, as I had addressed with Mr. Hagopian, I had some issues with the trash enclosure. It's not a practicable solution on parcel C. It impedes the staircase. So I think that we need to create a condition that they relocate the trash enclosure for the house on parcel C. And the trash enclosure for parcel A is inside the house. It's like you literally walk from the garage through a door into a staircase, which opens to downstairs. Then you go through another door and you're in the trash enclosure. So the trash enclosure is almost like it's in the house. And if the trash cans at this place are going to be anything like the trash cans at my house, they get messy, dirty, covered in garbage, smelly. I wouldn't want them inside my house. So I think that we should make at least a consideration to relocate that to an outdoor location, or at least, inside the garage and not in the house itself. Aside from that, I think that's all I have. I think we should get a stipulation that the balconies are actually glass, because again, this other rendering that I was looking at, those definitely look like cables, and I think the glass is a better solution. And I think that's it. I mean, otherwise, the color of the stucco, I think, is fine. It's actually their earth tone, so that's appropriate, blending into that hillside. So I don't have any issue with that. I just want, where there's going to be some contrasting elements, that they differ between the houses. So that's it.
Thank you, Board Member Welch. Board Member Halajian?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So let me start off similar what Board Member Welsh said regarding the sequencing of. So yes, there is a fire concern given being on the hillside. Yes, there is a concern with the parking, especially when you have guests over or friends or family. There might be environmental concern when you're removing and hauling away 2,400 cubic yards of dirt or soil, basically. So there's some dust mitigation that needs to take place. So all these are valid. However, they are not in our purview to make a decision on. So each department has, there are different departments within the city that can address those. However, this is, for the design review board, this is not the place. So let's talk about the site plan. This is within our purview. I think there's a serious concern with the drainage. I understand Mr. Hagopian made a point that when it rains, the water will disperse they were trying to contain the site. However, if the site becomes extremely saturated, where's that water going to go? So and that will impact the neighborhood, and it will impact the neighbors below this proposed development. So from that perspective, at least there should be some study. There should be, so we can review and comment on it. So that's as far as site planning. And the positive, the architect did a nice job of how dividing the site and creating these different housing. So I'll kudos to that. As far as massing, I have no issue. Again, massing, as I said, it's divided up nicely. So it becomes really design and detailing. I visited the site. And as you know, board members, we not only visit the site, we do also our homework. We spend hours looking at these drawings and studying them. My first reaction to this, it felt like extension of the college campus. So it feels like a satellite campus of Glendale Unified, Glendale GCC. So with that, I am leaning towards proposing to sending it redesign, so it will blend with the neighborhood. It will have a residential element rather than this campus feel, college campus feel. So those are my thoughts. I'm curious about your thoughts, Mr. Chair. So,
Yep, thank you very much, Board Member Halajian. I don't want to echo the same exact concerns that our colleagues brought up. Your concerns are valid. A lot of the concerns are valid. And I don't know if Roger, you had figured that out, but after we're done, hopefully you could address to what the planning commission had voted on. So as far as the site plan, the massing and scaling, I totally understand that, you have to work with what you have, right? In this situation, it's very tricky. With the driveway, you're very limited to the amount of stuff that you can do. But I think what you've done is, in general, going towards the right step. I think the only thing that, our colleagues here brought up that I am in agreement with is the design. I truly think that we could do something else here to make it a little bit more better, especially if this is something that's going to be here for a very long time. Every person has a right to build a home, especially if it's an approved parcel and it's zoned for it, absolutely. But I do think that there is an opportunity for us to do something else here. The current setup that we have, I do think it looks a little bit like corporate-y, like a GCC. We can work with the colors and make it a little bit more, appealing for the area. There is those opportunities. So I am kind of leaning towards more of a redesign as well, because I think there is an opportunity. We have had a lot of these cases where it does go back to redesign and comes back even better. I think this is something that the community would also appreciate as well. I understand it's been 13, 14 years that you've been, working on getting this developed, and I hope you do. But I do think that, if we are going to build something, especially in the city, let's do it right. And let's ensure that the design is fitting for the area. I think that, yes, the stucco does look like a very close to like the hillside. It matches, I understand all these things, but, there is things that we could tweak up to, change it up a little bit. Definitely breaking up the color variation is one of them, making sure that it's not all the same. But yeah, I'm leaning towards more of a redesign here.
That's fine. I'll go along with what you guys are leaning towards. I mean, I think that staff could have worked with the applicant on this, but yeah, I would actually prefer to see a redesign as well. And preferably, if we can also ask them to vary up some of the shapes as well, not just colors, because all the flat roofs just, again, create a uniformity to all of them that evokes that sort of a corporate campus, college campus kind of a feel. And I think that if some of that can be done through slightly different roof forms or some modifications to roof forms as well as the colors and materials, then I think that would be a welcome change.
I do share the same sentiment. I mean, just the previous applicant, we just approved a flat roof. We're not against a flat roof, but in this setting, I think there's too much flatness. It's.
I would be okay with if one of them was predominantly flat roof, if as long as it was sort of differentiated amongst the others in some way.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I do appreciate that the architect did try to blend in with the hillside as the guidelines dictate.
Yes.
However, maybe a little bit of variation is maybe what we need here. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So with that being said, do we want to have a motion?
So considering that this is going to be a return for redesign, do you need us to articulate particular conditions on each individual one? Or is it okay for us with our general blanket comments that would be equally applicable to all?
I think it might be helpful for all of us to go through them individually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, so I would say that for, starting with parcel A, the conditions that were already put forward, already called out, I believe, for some deviations in materials. Could we pull up the conditions for parcel A?
1311.
Okay, so restudy the front elevation to introduce additional material. I would probably add to that restudy roof forms to potentially consider varying the massing and differentiating it from the other properties. And then relocate the trash enclosure, which is currently inside the home, to a more appropriate location in the garage or outside the home. Otherwise, I think all those other conditions that are there are okay.
So these conditions are fine with two other conditions, restudying the roof forms, to vary the massing and differentiate it from other homes, and then relocate the trash. Sorry, wasn't on mic. Did you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
can
heard
hear
you.
you.
Okay.
All right.
Anything to add on parcel A?
No.
Okay. So,
Parcel B.
parcel B. Okay, so, yes, if you could please pull up the conditions for parcel B.
Mine's at the end. My presentation's at the end. So yeah, it'll be at the bottom. There you go.
Okay, I think that those are fine, but since we are looking at a return for redesign, I would also add that I think the front entryway, the access way could be improved. It's this straight up stairs with no sort of transitional zone right up, yeah, that one, right up to the front door. And again, to me, it speaks very corporate. And I think that the applicant could do something more interesting there to help that entryway to the home. Also, the same conditions that we talked about for parcel A, potentially varying up roof forms, or studying varying up roof forms to help differentiate this house from the others. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, so with site B, the three conditions are fine, along with an added one of restudying the front entry to create a transition zone, make this area more interesting and less corporate.
Yep.
And then restudy the roof forms to vary the massing and differentiate it from the other homes.
Yes.
Okay.
Conditions for the next one will be the middle of the presentation.
So we'll move on to great.
Okay, so now we're on parcel C, yes, okay. I think, again, the current conditions already include that. I think we would just add, to potentially restudy the roof forms to potentially create some areas of differentiation, as well as the additional material or colors. So to that restudy front elevation to introduce additional material, I would say and/or color.
Okay.
And then also on C, the trash enclosure, as I pointed out in the plans, is not practicable because there has to be a staircase there, so we have to find a new location for the trash enclosure.
Okay.
Anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay. So for C, these recommended conditions are good, with the amendment of restudy front elevation to introduce additional materials and/or color, and a new condition, relocate the trash enclosure.
Yep.
And, I'm sorry, and also the restudy of the roof forms? Okay. Okay.
Okay, so that's, did you,
Do we need to do anything with regarding site drainage, or it's not in our purview?
That will really be looked at the plan check phase with Building and Public Works.
Okay.
So,
I did hear, and during your deliberations, I did hear some discussion about potentially that you said that parcels A, Commissioner Welsh, or Board Member Welsh, you said that parcels A and C should have additional finished material. So would it be appropriate?
I think the conditions already included in reference to that, so.
So we'll be sure that in that statement of, to when we say restudy, we're not just restudying the roof forms, we're also restudying, when we say differentiation, we mean in terms of not just colors, but potentially finished materials.
Potentially finished materials, potentially roof forms, all of those things to help the applicant create that sense of differentiation between the homes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
and just, I think we're maybe about to take some motions. I did look at the vesting tentative map staff report, and there was no mention about a 1992 approval for this area. So I think what you really need to focus on is the parcel map from last year, or actually from a year and a half ago, was approved to create 3 lots. These are the 3 lots, and these are the 3 homes that are proposed on these 3 lots.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion for a return, this is for project 1311 Swarthmore, which is parcel A.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion for a return for redesign with the conditions that we had stipulated.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, a motion is made to return the project for redesign for 1311 Swarthmore. This will be a roll call. Mr. Welsh?
Yes.
Mr. Halajian?
Yes.
And Mr. Kuskanian?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0.
Okay, next up, this will be a motion for a return for redesign for 1313/1315 Swarthmore Drive, also known as parcel C. So a return for redesign with the conditions that were discussed and deliberated on.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, a motion was made to return for redesign the project at 1313 Swarthmore. Roll call, Mr. Welsh.
Yes.
Mr. Halajian.
Yes.
Mr. Kuskanian.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0.
Okay, and then finally, this will be a motion for a return for redesign for 1315/1317 Swarthmore Drive, also known as parcel B, with the conditions as were deliberated on and agreed with the board.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, a motion was made to return this project for redesign at 1315/1317 Swarthmore. Roll call. Mr. Welsh.
Yes.
Mr. Halajian.
Yes.
And Mr. Kuskanian.
Yes.
Great. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out.
Mr.
Motion to
Chair,
adjourn.
move to adjourn.